Welcome back, everybody, to the Classic Firearms Podcast. I am Clint, and with us we've got Larry Vickers.
Yeah, Larry Vickers, Vickers Tactical. My side of the house, this podcast is presented by CCWSafe, as you well know. They're the industry leaders in concealed carry protection, and check them out on CCWSafe.com.
That's awesome. Yeah, we talked a little bit about them in our last podcast. This is kind of the part 2 to the last one, because we've also got with us Sootch00, Sootch00 in the house over here. Don, thanks for joining us again.
All right. Don Porter from Sootch00 YouTube channel.
Yes, sir. And, of course, Sensible Prepper. And, man, we're happy to have you back. And today we hinted in the first episode that, we're going to do a little bit of a Ask Me Anything. We posted on our Instagram earlier, Classic Firearms Official. Hey, we got Sootch. We got Larry Vickers in the house. Well, let's see what kind of questions you guys can come up with. So if you're not thrilled by the questions, it's your fault. So let's just hop right into it here. And this one I think is pretty cool. It's coming from Jeff's L62, it looks like. Drills and recommendations for someone with a lower body disability, such as cerebral palsy. That I think is pretty interesting. And because lower body disability, your movement is obviously pretty hindered. And I'd like to kind of give a shout out to an organization out there called Battle Buddy 3-Gun. And what they do is actually do 3-gun competitions for those that are in disability. And what they have actually is like pretty much a competitive course. And I just saw them last week at the All-American Gun Shoot. They were there, and that was pretty cool. And I saw them at the Gundies earlier this year as well. They actually have like a little competition that you sit down in a wheelchair and your battle buddy pushes you around, and you have to try to navigate and engage those targets. So getting somebody else to assist you and help you out, I think, is actually a pretty cool thing. I'll be honest with you, this is something I might have to research a little bit more. Do you guys have any recommendations when it comes to something like that?
I've got a couple thoughts on it. Don, you got anything off the top of your head? Or?
Well, I think most of your gun clubs that have people that are really competent,
yeah,
I think they would be more than happy to help, because I think that's a very vulnerable part of the population. And a while back, I did have someone, I believe it was in Columbia, South Carolina, that did some of that with disabilities, and so this was a woman that was looking for some help, and so it was really good to see.
Yeah.
But I think that there are some local that you could at least get some just basic training.
Oh yeah.
But as far as there are some groups out there, I'm sure, that do help.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the top of my head, I would say, okay, let's look at it from a concealed carry point of view or home protection point of view. How are they going to wear it? First thing that comes to mind to me is some kind of a chest rig with a holster, basically in a cross draw format, and then your mags on the other side, and work on draws. Obviously, shooting at close range, even point shooting, depending on the low light situation you might be in, and then reloads. Slide lock reload. So kind of look at it. How am I going to carry it? How can I carry it? What makes the most sense? And then what gun I'm going to have, and where is it going to be, and where my reloads going to be at. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm coming from on that. And Don's 100% right. Go to your local gun club, kind of get the guy that's real dialed in, that maybe the CCW instructor or whatever the case may be, and ask him through this. Hey, what do you got in mind? What are you thinking? This is my disability I have. How can we work around it?
Yeah, that's really cool. I was at the range one day, and I met a gentleman out there, and Wheelchair Warrior is what I think he went by. He was a fan, first of all, which was super cool, but he's on his electric wheelchair, and he was practicing drills. He was out there running it, So, Mr. Wheelchair Warrior, if you're watching this or listening, answer down below, what are some of the drills that you run? Because obviously somebody's asking about that, and that's, I think, pretty cool. Let's see here. Everyday carry pocket dump. I've got my everyday carry right here in front of me. Sig 365 macro, spare mag, Alpha Omega, Kydex holster, code word mag dump, get you a little something. But, that's TLR 7A light, Columbia River knife and tool, pocket knife, and I got a Hitch and Timber wallet that has a little pin in it because I'm a note taker, because if I don't write it down, I'll probably forget it. So that's that. But what about you, Don? What's your everyday carry look like?
Well, it's according to the situation. Today I brought my P365 XL, and I have a craft holster, which I've been wearing outside the waistband, which is actually the past year is the first time I've actually worn a outside the waistband. typically I'll use it inside the waistband or appendix carry if it's something I really need that's small.
Right.
Especially where I'm really wanting to be discreet and I need to be discreet.
Yeah.
But it's funny, and I think it has a lot to do with my channel. I do carry a variety of different firearms.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck on one.
Yeah.
I'll carry 1911s. I almost brought my Browning high power today.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Because it's just according to the situation. But a lot of times it is the P365 series because it's just so small. And of course, the Glock 19 has always been one. As far as knives, I have one of the Microtech LUDTs.
Oh, yeah.
Outside, automatic, but it's out the side, and have a flat Olight Arc-Feld flashlight, 1,000 lumens. It's just super easy to carry in my pocket. And I usually do carry a pen because I'm a note taker as well, or I always need a pen.
Right.
But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention light because at night I'll put my little pocket light in there. It's Surefire Stiletto. Love that thing, but it always stays just right in my car because that's typically when I need it. But if I've always got my car with me. And if it gets dark out, I'll just go grab my light really quick. What about you, Larry?
Really, it very much like Don. It really varies, but a couple that come to mind: Glock 19, Gen 5, because I think the Gen 5 Glocks are the best ones they've ever made. P365, or once again, like Don, 1911. I'm a fan of the 1911 Commander lightweight in 9mm.
Oh yeah.
And I have a Vickers Elite Wilson combat model. Fantastic pistol. Not everybody can afford it, but you're talking about gold standard type pistols.
Right.
So that kind of stuff. Usually a Chris Reeves Sabenza knife, which is kind of on the high end side. And Lord, hope you don't lose it.
Don't forget that one at the TSA line.
Yeah. No kidding. And then a variety of Surefires.
Yeah.
They're going to kind of operate all the same. Depending on which one you grab and put in your pocket, it's going to be a momentary switch or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in that realm.
Yeah. Yeah, I always like the idea of having a light on me because, well, if you can't see, then that kind of sucks, and it's me that's always dropping my keys or something, or that pin that I need, and it's like it's rolling under the car and I need to find it. But
light is your number one security tool.
Yeah.
You'll use that more than any other tool for self-defense, honestly, or just illumination.
Right.
So, well, I'm a poor NCO because one of the things they teach you in basic training or as an NCO is you always got to have a pen and something to write with.
Yep.
And I don't generally carry a pen, so I deserve to be chastised for that.
I hear you. This is a good one. What is your favorite AR? We know that the AR M4 platform is your favorite, but which one is actually your favorite?
BCM.
BCM.
Oh, man, I know the owner real well. He's a great guy. I know his mindset, the care and build quality they put into their gun sets BCM for me. Real easy call.
Yeah. All right, easy enough. Don?
Well, BCM.
Your BCM too?
The
Yeah.
Recce.
Yeah.
The Recce is my go-to, and they're called gunfighters for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that Paul Buffonti, he's just super awesome. Very strong in the Second Amendment, which makes that even better.
Right.
And they're just excellent guns. So big kudos to BCM.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, well, solid choices. Mine, probably no surprise anybody here, Dandy Defense Mark 18. The Mark 18, I absolutely love it. Now, if I really I love it for all around, but honestly, my favorite AR that I have really is actually the Mark 12. Suppressed, shooting that thing, it is such a soft and fun shooter. And I think about my buddy Texas Plinking. He actually has a PRI Mark 12, and actually that might be my favorite AR. Not even one of my own. Oh, dang it. All right, so we've got another good one talking about ARs. The Geisley Super Duty versus the LWRC DI. Which one would you go with? And that one is tough. But personally, I think I'd go with the LWRC DI. I really love the ambidextrous controls on that gun. The direct impingement action, obviously, for LWRC is a little bit different because they usually run a piston-driven design. And that one's for me. I don't know if you guys have a personal take on that or not, or where you might lie on that.
I'm going to pass because that's so tough for me.
Yeah.
I know how Geisley is, how fanatical they are about their quality and what they bring to the table.
Right.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's a toss-up.
Yeah.
I mean, Geisley,
Yeah.
they do. I agree. They're just, their triggers, man. I fell in love with their triggers right from the beginning.
Yeah.
But then just all their products they put out.
Yeah,
but
they make quality.
LWRC is actually a really top-notch deal, too.
Yeah, I'm with Don. That's too much of a toss-up to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I got mine out there because, well, and I feel that thing. I love their monoforge design that they have on that. Really strengthens it. But also, too, you can't really customize the rail to it, and guys will make some great rails, too. And obviously their accessories and everything, triggers that we've talked about.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah. Let's see here. This is a fun one because somebody's wanting to know, Georgie Wargie, that's a funny name. Can you make a video on how to build an AK and perhaps another AR build video? And we've done a couple of build videos for the AR. We even did an entire series about an AR build. And they pretty much gave me an unlimited budget and just go out there and just like spend as much money as I can on a high-end AR. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is ridiculous. Let's do it. So that was fun. So, yeah, I think we can do that. Now, how to build an AK, it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, for sure. You got to ask yourself, where am I starting here? Am I going to have to fold and rivet the receiver?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough nut to crack on a video, and there's a lot of ways things can go wrong. Or am I starting from a receiver that's already intact, and then it's okay, that's a lot easier nut to crack.
Yeah.
So that would be my call, is let's start from an intact receiver. Let's not worry about getting into the weeds of bolting and or folding and bending and riveting the receiver. Let's kind of leave that on the table.
Yeah, that would be something. I think, honestly, hey, Brandon Herrera, you listening? We could probably get him in the house or whatever, or tour, any other AK manufacturer out there that wants to invite us out and maybe even show us from the ground up. That would be cool to catch on video instead of me over here trying to fumble with AKs that I barely know anything about. I just know how to shoot them, I guess. But that would be kind of a neat thing, because if we were to go tour a factory that actually showed us from the ground up, here's how we make our receivers. Here's how we build this. Here's how we build that. We either source or build our barrels, and here's how we do that. And then watch a gun from start to finish being built. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's actually I didn't even think about it. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Instead of showing us how to do it and me probably do it wrong. So
right.
I think AR-15s have spoiled us at how easy they are to put together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a good question. Savets_15 says, I bought an LWRC ICA5. So LWRCI is a pretty popular topic today. Should I get a DI 5.56 in addition? Are direct impingement rifles more reliable? Oh, this is going to be fun. Let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Larry, I'll just let you start.
This is what I tell everybody is there's 4 things you have to ask yourself if I need a piston gun.
Yeah.
Am I going to be running a barrel much shorter than 14 inches? Because now the shorter you go, the more you start getting in piston territory. Mm-hmm. Number 1. Number 2, am I going to be shooting a lot of suppressed?
Yeah.
Then you kind of go, okay, if I'm going to be shooting a lot of suppressed, might be in a situation here where a piston gun is going to make more sense. Am I going to be shooting a lot of full auto? Because generally piston guns run cooler than direct impingement guns because you don't have the gas coming into the action. Yeah. And am I going to be shooting a wide variety of ammunition? So if you really start going, yes, check mark on those categories, you need to take a hard look at a piston gun. If you say, look, I'm rarely going to do any of those things, or I'm never going to do them, a DI gun is perfectly acceptable. It's been refined to the point, like me and Don both like BCM, and they're DI-only guns. The DI gun has been refined to the point where you have no problems at all running a DI gun unless you're asking yourself those 4 questions and they're a serious yes. Then you need to take a look at a piston gun.
Now, as far as the DI gun, and I think maybe he was saying he has the piston gun.
That's right.
To add a DI gun.
Yeah.
Being the prepper side of me, something goes wrong with a piston gun, you're just out of luck. I mean, you can maybe fix it at home, but it's a catastrophic failure.
Right.
Now, is it prone to fail as much? Maybe not, but if it does. And so, to me, having the parts and availability, and you can have backup parts,
for
and
days.
and you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that is one of the big things that if you're going with a go-to on the piston, now you got your AKs.
Sure.
And they're built they can fail.
Oh yeah.
But they're not likely to fail, but they can, and they do. So for me, the AR, I can repair it, I can fix it. Most of it, I could even do sitting in the field.
Yep.
So that is, to me, the one other additional plus. But
it's spot on. That's a great point, Don. Great point.
Yeah, I mean you are right about that, because you can buy a high-end AR right out of the box, and then if you get and you can buy a lot more affordable parts just to have on standby. Your barrel jacks up or whatever else. Okay, cool. Give me about an hour or two. I can probably have this barrel swapped out and we're ready to go. You know, and make sure you just keep yourself some grease laying around or something. You know, extra bolt carrier groups, extra bolts, extractors. I mean, these are things that are relatively very easy to replace. With a little bit of training, a little bit of instruction perhaps, and just honestly a little bit of experience. Just going out there and doing it. Build from the ground up an AR from a stripped lower, stripped upper. You guys are going to be primo and fine with it. So I really like your take on that when it comes to a DI gun.
Well, I highly recommend people doing a build, whether that's their go-to or not.
Yeah.
Build so you know what the gun's about.
Exactly.
You know how it functions, you know, and then you can do what you want to with it. But I think that's one of the biggest things that I used to do a lot of builds before YouTube got really squirrely on that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, it's something I feel like that anybody that owns an AR-15 needs to at least build it for practice, if nothing else.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the short answer from my point of view is, for the average guy with what he's going to do, a DI gun is perfectly acceptable.
Yep.
I agree.
And I'll be honest with you guys, I've probably got about 6,000. I'm actually probably on the higher end of 6,000 rounds to my Mark 18 now without any replacement parts other than the buffer itself and the trigger. And I keep it, it's a 10-3, and I keep it full-time suppressed with my little SOCOM RC2, and I shoot it sometimes unsuppressed. Thing's still ticking, and I barely clean it. And it's still ticking, you know. So granted, is it dirty as heck, and is the reliability maybe a factor there, especially if it's in an oh crap situation? Sure. So if you're going to, I would take Larry's advice on that, but me, I'm an idiot for that thing, man. But it runs, so. FNH_2000 or 208 says, what gun is unmatched by how fun it is to shoot?
Well, I got easy answer on that one. MP5.
Full auto, right?
Yeah, full auto.
Yeah,
or even the semi-auto MKE guns or the semi-auto HK guns that are in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're pieces of cake. Like my buddy Hackathorn already said, you can take one of those in no time. You can have somebody comfortable with shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so soft to shoot. So in my opinion, MP5 or even the semi-auto variants.
Yep. Don, what about you?
I agree. That is one of my tops. I mean, it's just a beautiful.
Yeah.
But as far as just absolutely sheer giggle fun, we have a couple of Tipman Arms full autos, 22.
Yeah.
And we made a video about it. We could not quit laughing. I mean, we had to stop and go, okay, and let's get serious.
Right.
And then we'd let it off, and it was like, we just couldn't help it. Just the biggest smile machine.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's really on another spectrum. But, man, those things are fun.
Did mine, ever since my childhood, a lever action 22. I plink all freaking day and just sit there. And I got so fast on it. I was still pretty quick on it. We probably need to do a video on it. But to sit there just, you know, as soon as you can run that lever. And, man, I love me a lever action 22, especially with the Aguila, those super quiet rounds they used to produce that had, like, no gunpowder in them. And granted, it would get pretty fouled up, and sometimes a bullet wouldn't make it out the barrel, and you just punch it out and keep going, you know, and you wouldn't have to worry about damaging anything. So, you know, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But no, that or a full auto 22 of some sort, or Franklin Armory has the 1022 binary trigger, and that thing runs. Have you shot one of those yet? Oh,
I haven't.
All right, well, we got one. So if you want to borrow it, I'm just saying, a lot of fun. But so somebody else, that's a long name, John Luke Skins. I'm sorry. When's the Texas Plinking collab video coming out? We were just down in Texas last week or two for Kalash Bash, and while we were there, which was a fun experience, by the way, if you guys get to go, I'd recommend. While we were there, we drove out and saw our buddy Brandon with Texas Plinking, and we did some long distance shooting with the Mark 13 300 Win Mag and a M200 408 Shytac, which was pretty freaking cool. And that video's, I don't know. I don't know when it's coming out. Soon. We'll just say soon. It might be out before this podcast airs. It might be out after. Spoiler alert, we're giving away 408 Shytac at some point. So.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's
way cool.
Yeah, it's a big heavy sucker, but man, it's definitely cool. I know we're not all huge AK guys here, but one question is by 919.350Z, best sites for AK attachments, classicfirearms.com. Shameless plug there. But while you're there, also at Kalash Bash, one of my favorite accessories for the AK is one of the optics mounts or even some of the rails that are by RS Regulate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You've got good experience with RS?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've done a lot with those.
Yeah, Scott's a really good guy. I kind of known him from way back in the day. I gave him some input early on, and he's done a great job. His stuff's got an excellent reputation. Yeah,
I would check out RS Regulate, Krebs Custom, Michael Krebs, just fantastic dude. Just knows his stuff and's been in the game for such a long time. But
if you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCWSafe, Self-Defense Legal Services Membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members, unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCWSafe, the highest caliber.
Andrick.Nelson17 asked a pretty good question, and I think this is going to be a good one for all of us. It is, what is the hardest thing about being a gun tuber? The hardest thing.
Editing.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of it is heaven almost.
Right.
I mean, it's you're in your element. You're doing what you have a passion for.
Right.
And editing. I mean, there's a satisfaction to it to a point, but it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the toughest.
Yeah. I would say some of it, a lot of it, we're putting out still now 5 videos a week. And we try to form a lot of our videos around whatever giveaway we're currently offering, but a lot of it comes up to the content creation. We put out so much content. We don't want to get boring. We want to keep things real, fresh, and things like that. And so sometimes it really comes up to the content side of things. And that's my perspective. Ryan's perspective, probably the hardest thing is dealing with me and being behind the camera. But he's also doing all sorts of, he's scheduling a lot of the content. Like, hey, you need to know this by the time we start shooting. And if you don't, you're going to look like a douchebag, right? And it's like, okay, I guess I got some homework to do, right? And based off of personal experience too. And then editing, you're absolutely right. We have a team of editors. So Larry, what's been one of your experiences?
The editing for sure, which I never did. I've always had guys do it.
Yeah.
The editing is the most difficult part. For me, in front of the camera, I'm always concerned to make sure I'm putting out accurate information. That really, I sweat bullets over that. Yeah. Because I know there's going to be people watching it that are going to refer to it.
Right.
I've talked to guys who, hey, yeah, that video you did on such and such, we play that in front of our troops and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, man, I want to make sure whatever I'm putting out is accurate. So I sweat bullets over that.
Yeah.
Big time.
I agree. There are times where there are things I just want to make sure it's on.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it can affect people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talking about Brandon Herrera again, he corrected me in the comments one time because I was a douchebag. We got a STG-44 hanging up on the wall over there. And I was like, yeah, dude, everybody likes to think the AK was some sort of derivative of the STG-44. And I was like, no, man, the STG-44 is a short stroke gun and the AK is a long stroke. Come on now. Uh-oh. And next thing you know, the comment section was like, what did you just say?
Wrong.
And then Brandon, the AK guy himself, said, Clint, they're both long stroke. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, wait, are you kidding me? My whole life, I was convinced otherwise. And then I look it up and I'm like, wow, you're dumb. You're a dummy.
Well, if that's your worst sin, you're okay.
Right. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Favorite pistol for under $500?
That's an easy answer for me. The Canik.
I was going to say Canik, dude. I was going to say Canik too. So, I mean, I'm going to say Canik also. Yeah. Yeah. Don?
Canik.
Yeah.
I mean,
dude. By the way, not sponsored by Canik.
No.
But
you can have a lot of really high quality guns laying out on the table and the Canik can be right there with them. And it just, typically when you have a budget gun, and I mean, this is just visual, you can put a budget gun out there and you can spot it.
Sure.
There's something about the way, and then too, just the functionality. Those things are just phenomenal, honestly, for the money. But even not for the money, I think they're just excellent firearms. So it kind of rises above it.
My good buddy Hackthorne brought up a good point. I mentioned this to you before, I think, Clint, he said for the price point gun, it's unmatched.
Yeah. I mean, the trigger on it feels great. It looks good. It's got all the features that I want. It's got all sorts of additional accessories in the case itself. I mean, they figured out forward slide serrations quicker than some other bigger companies, and it's like, oh man, yeah, that's great, dude. I'm a press checker. I like that stuff. No, I absolutely agree. So I think you guys heard it here. All three of us agreed. Canik's where it's at. I only got this for Jacob. That's a weird handle. Wood or polymer 1911 grips? Yes, is the answer for me. because I've got my dad's Series 70 that he left me as an inheritance when he died, and I'm not touching that gun. He's got the wood grips on it and everything, and it's beautiful. Then on my Colt 1911, I've got some G10 grips. So that's my answer, is G10 grips.
G10.
Yeah.
G10. My Vickers Elite models from Wilson Combat always run G10 grips from VZ, by the way. VZ grips.
Yep,
VZ
top
grips.
shelf.
Yep. Top shelf, but yeah, G10.
Yeah, that's what I've got on mine, and it also has the integrated flared magwell on the grip itself, so it gives it a cool look, and it's also functional. Yeah. How about you, Sootch? What you got?
Definitely G10.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely. Yeah. Sometimes I like the way wood looks, but it doesn't hold up as well as G10.
Mm-hmm.
And then the gripping. I mean,
it's so good. Yeah.
Now, one little trick for you is putting that little O-ring on the grip screw bushing.
Yep.
That helps keep the G10 grips from coming loose.
Yep.
So if you're listening or watching or wherever the case may be, you put, I think it's a number 80 O-ring. I don't hold that to me, but it's a small little O-ring that you put on the grip screw bushing, and then that will help keep the grips from coming loose.
Yeah, it adds just enough tension there to place a little bit of pressure on that screw to keep it from wobbling out. Yep. No, absolutely. Buttoned Up Michael asks, what is the smallest and largest caliber you have to fire, included anything, or that you have fired, including mounted or towed? For me, it was towed, and it was a 155 millimeter howitzer. So that's the largest thing I've ever shot. But as far as a handgun goes, Larry and I have both had the unpleasant experience of shooting the 460 Smith & Wesson or something, 460 JHP or something like that. And we've got a video on that, and that hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I mean, I've shot a bunch of stuff, 50 BMG and this and that and the other, but that's the one that stands out was shooting that 460 Smith & Wesson. I shot one round, and I have no desire to ever shoot another one.
Yep. What about you, Don?
Probably 500 Smith & Wesson.
Yeah.
But my buddy was out at the range one day with a 4570. I guess it was one of the in single action revolver.
4570 revolver.
4570. It was brutal. I mean, it was, and this was Robbie Wheaton. He's 6'5", big guy.
Yeah.
And he had to sight it in for a customer, and it was. I mean, and he was just like hanging on to it. But he was like, "You want to shoot it?" I said, "No way."
No. Yeah.
But now the smallest, wasn't that also part of the question?
Yeah, he said so. The smallest and largest caliber you have fired. Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite pistols is the Beretta 950 BS. I don't know. It's just, there's something about it.
Yeah.
And in the 22 short.
Yep.
And you would think that is not going to be reliable. It is super reliable.
Yeah.
It is a hilarious little. So I just love that one.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as favorite goes, yeah,
Just
20.
tiny.
Yeah, 22 shorts are fun. 17 HMR is pretty fun. That's a good little round also. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement on those ones. Raymond Codillo, thoughts on a Nightforce NX8 1-8 LPVO for a POF Revolution 12.5-inch pistol? Y'all might disagree with me, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I think a 1-8 on a 12.5-inch barrel is a little overkill. Maybe a lot of overkill. I personally, on a 12.5, my mind either goes to a simple red dot or maybe a red dot holographic with maybe a magnifier, maybe a little 3-power or something. But I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Larry, Don, you guys have something different take?
Red dot and an aim point. I'm an aim point guy. I've been an aim point guy for years, actually decades now. So pick your flavor of aim point, but I would say a red dot for sure.
Yeah, on something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We red dot aim points, 300 yards, steel.
Oh, yeah.
With a small pistol even. I mean, it's not that difficult to do. Now, if you're shooting some kind of for super accuracy or something, you might want that. But, yeah, the thing about the AR, especially when you get into that size, is get yourself a rifle if you want to get that longer range with that kind of optic.
Right, yep.
But if you have something small, compact, you want to keep it compact.
Right.
But if that's what you have, let's say that's all he has, that pistol, and he wants to get some pinpoint accuracy, I mean, great. I wouldn't say it's not doable, but yeah, I would definitely choose a small red dot.
Yeah, so something like that. And I can also understand, too, if you're looking for some magnification because you want to positively identify a target that might be at a little bit of a greater distance and identify a potential threat, I can understand that. But for most of us, sitting around just talking about this like right here. I don't think we're in that situation, unless you want to run it like maybe full-time suppressed, get that little bit added length to it and whatnot. Yeah, my thoughts on it though, heck, I can run non-magnified pretty easily on something like that. So yeah, I like that aim point. I'm a holographic guy myself too, like with the EOTech and stuff. So Caesar Jose 05 wants to know if the Sig P320 is safe to carry. And I was at the Fort Scott Munitions Battleline Tactical 2-day course with Chris Tonto Peranto. And I had a beautiful situation take place where my Sig 320 VTAC was in a holster that was not designed for it, but it worked. It was actually designed for my FNX 45 Tactical. And I forgot to close the little thumb tab on it. And I'm sprinting, doing suicides, running from one side of the range to the other, and then turning around and engaging my target. And when I went to go reach for my pistol, it was on the ground behind me. And you know what it didn't do whenever it hit the ground? Go bang, right? And it landed on gravel. So is the Sig 320 safe to carry? I'm going to say yes. I don't think Sig's going to keep a gun out on the market that was maybe at one point in time unsafe, right? They're going to do whatever type of recall. Any notable big or anybody with a reputation, that wants to stand behind their product, especially if it's going to be used in a life or death situation potentially, which should be just about any firearm, they're going to take care of it. So me personally, 320 safe to carry. Yeah, I think so.
Don?
Sometimes guns, and I don't care what company, they've had their issues here and there. May not be the same, different. But those companies have to get those things taken care of.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, their bank of lawyers are going to make them take care of it.
Yeah.
But I think, too, with the U.S. military and everything, I think, anything that, especially, with a Legend or any of those are definitely way beyond. So I personally have confidence.
Yeah.
I would agree with Don 100%. They've made so many of them now, and, it's man-made object. It can fail, as we know, but they've been through the ringer with that gun. They've made so many of them. So I would say, yes, it is. Yeah. It's safe to carry.
Yep. That's our take on that one. Joni_Boyle wants to know if there's any areas in the East Coast y'all visit or prefer. And, maybe with a slight bias, downtown Matthews, North Carolina is pretty fun. How about you, Larry? Do you like any places you like to frequent?
Savannah and Charleston.
Savannah.
We talked about this before we started filming, but both those are awesome places to visit.
Yeah. I kind of like some of their different laws out there, which are pretty fun to, have my beer and walk the street without having to worry about, somebody coming after me for having an open container. That's pretty cool in Savannah. What about you, Don?
No, Charleston, Savannah, definitely. Yeah. I have a buddy of mine that has a distillery down there.
Really?
In Charleston.
Well, what's the distillery?
Firewire Distillery.
I think I may have. Yeah, I know that one.
I grew up with him, and but that's just a great place. A lot of historical, beautiful scenery, and it's not. And of course, this has probably changed some, but it's not quite as busy as maybe the Myrtle Beach area, which we go to as well. Which is very commercialized. It's just got a very historical, beautiful area.
Yeah.
So that's just one of my favorite places, as well as with Larry.
Yeah, and the you've got the USS Yorktown down there too, and everything, and Patriots Point, which is just super cool. So if you guys are into that military history and things like that, especially on the naval side of things, really cool place to visit. So as far as East Coast goes, Outer Banks are always fun. East Coast has got a lot of cool places.
It does.
Sure. Yeah. This was a good one. We recently just did a video on the Springfield Prodigy, and Sergio Jordi wants to know what our thoughts are on the Springfield Prodigy. Have you gotten your hands on that? Have you done? Did you release the video yet? You did? Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So, without spoiling too much, because go watch Sootch00's video if you want to find out really his take on it. But what'd you think?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets that 2011 for a super reasonable price.
Yeah.
And I was highly impressed with it. Robbie Wheaton used to build a lot of STIs and a lot of the, custom 1911s. And he was as well impressed.
Yeah.
And Springfield Armory knows how to put together 1911s, period. So, but with that body, that wide body, And two, it wasn't like I was holding a giant brick. It was a good feel to it.
Yeah.
But the way it shot, and we were using one of the Hex Optics Dragonflies, I believe it was, and
Okay.
just a great little optic, and it just shoots great, and it's got 16+1. I mean, of course, 9mm.
Yeah, I think
definitely a great little gun.
I think it's a 17. I think it's a 17 in the Prodigy.
Oh, yeah, I think it is. You're right.
And I think it also comes with a 20-round mag.
That's right.
Yeah,
it
yeah. So
does,
17
which
and a 20.
makes it a real beast.
Yeah.
We were laughing about this is your ultimate home defense gun because it's like just huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got
And you got the red dot, and it's got the accessory rail or a Picatinny to sign it, depending on the barrel size. So if you want the 5-inch barrel, you've got a full-length Picatinny rail, and if you got a 4 1/4 inch, you got the kind of like the accessory rail, which is still going to work for 90% of the lights and attachments out there. So and then you got the slide cut for a red dot. I mean, dude, that thing's cool. Larry, have you had much experience with it?
No, I handled it here at your guys' place. I haven't shot it yet, but I've shot so many 2011s.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a good shooting gun. And like Don said, Springfield Armory does a good job building 1911s. They built 1911s for decades now. Yeah. So I have no reason to believe it's not a good gun.
Dude, it's smooth. I mean, you felt the slide on that. It's got a thick bull barrel on it too. Mm-hmm. Accuracy's there, and the reciprocating the felt. I guess you could say the felt recoil. And how it feels is just, or the recoil impulse is what I'm trying to say. If it's smooth, it's smooth.
And with that polymer frame, it keeps the weight down. Yeah. So, just awesome.
They did a good job with that. Oh, Tom Bevins, 308 or 5.56. Gotta pick one. He's not giving a scenario. He's not telling us anything else. He just says that when it comes to ammo, 308 or 5.56. Larry, what's your pick?
Well, you're talking about a gun that you might use for self-defense or a gun you might take to bear country. And if that's the case and you got to go across that broad spectrum, I'm going to have to say 308.
Yeah. Yep, 308 for Larry Vickers. What about Don?
I have to agree with Larry on that. As far as just a complete, this is it, here you go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some definite factors with ammo weight and usually the weapon weight, the firearm's heavier. But just like I referred to with the M14 earlier, I love that gun.
Yeah.
So, but that's definitely, if you had one, that would be the most capable of a wide range. It has its limitations.
Right.
So for me, generally, I would say 5.56. That's the rifle I'm going to take. But I agree with Larry completely.
If I'm given the option, yeah, sure, 5.56. I can carry more rounds. I know I'm good with it. I can stay on target pretty quick, whatever. But Larry brings up a good point, something that I'm not taking into consideration because I live right outside Charlotte, North Carolina. Bears aren't something I'm typically thinking about. But I'm like, you know what? If this is any scenario, I might say, oh yeah, 5.56. I was like, okay, great, cool. Now you're gonna go hunt great whites, And I'm like, wait, what? So 308. No, I'm inclined to agree as well. There's a reason why the right arm of the free world is chambered in 308. There's a reason why 308's been so prolific and shared around the world and everything. As is 5.56, but 7.62 NATO just gets the job done. So.
Ryan's waving us here. I think it's time for us to wrap it up.
Okay. All right. Well,
we could go on forever with this, especially with honestly, our buddy Don.
That's right.
Honestly, we could because I mean, some of these are coming in too as I'm going, but I'm going to leave off one more here. And Alex Parker 09061994 asks, "Is turkey bacon a lie?"
I got my answer on that. Yes, it is. And as my buddy Ken Hackathorn would say, it is a crime against humanity.
An abomination.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. All right, cool. So, hey, you know what? I'll save a couple of those to answer maybe later. But this has been a fun little segment. I think we need to do this again for sure.
For sure, man. This is awesome stuff.
Yeah. No,
awesome.
And thank you guys for contributing as well. And like I said, if you weren't happy with these questions, well, that's your fault. So ask better questions, No, I thoroughly enjoy the involvement, engagement from you guys. Thank you so much. And again, Larry, thanks for coming to hang out with us, and thanks for being on the podcast, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks to CCWSafe once again for helping out on my side of the house here. CCWSafe.com. Check them out.
Yep, and we've got Vickers Tactical, of course, here, and Sootch. Thank you, man.
Man, great. Always a good time up here with and then, of course, even the huge bonus of having Larry Vickers up here. It's been great.
Yeah, it's great to meet you, Don.
Yeah, good. Great to meet you, too.
Yeah, awesome time with you both. Thank you guys again. And one more time, Sootch00, where can they find you?
Sootch00 on YouTube Sootch_00 on Instagram, and Sensible Prepper.
That's right.
YouTube channel.
That's right. So we'll leave it off there, guys. Again, thank you always. God bless. We'll see you soon at ClassicFirearms.com. And Sootch, one more time. Let's get that ending one more time.
One more, brother.
Be strong. Be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic.
Hell yeah.
Good man.